Hey, bulls and bears, friends, foes, and everyone in between. Hey, it's Saturday. It's September 4th, 2021. We're going to talk about again, we're going to talk about shortages, especially the food shortages. We're also going to talk about the empty shelves and the preparations that I think we all should make. Now, I've been talking about this for a while, for over 2 years. So I think most of you are probably pretty well prepared. But let's go over some newer information, some more recent information, just so we don't get complacent. And I don't want anyone to think that a lot of the problems that we've been talking about are close to being fixed. And in fact, a lot of things are getting worse. We're going to talk about the food shortages, also a lot of different products and goods shortages, which is going to equal rising prices. And we're going to tie this in with the extreme weather and a lot of what we've been seeing, especially here in California. And California farms are in big trouble. Now, I know a lot of you say, okay, it's California. There's not much farming going on. There's not much in California, except for fires, Hollywood, homeless people, and beaches. But take a look at this. Again, this is just a reminder. I know a lot of you know this, but it's extremely important. That's why I've got to come back to this topic at least every couple months. Recent article, beef2live.com, ranking of states that produce the most food. Yes, California number one, more than Iowa, Nebraska, Texas, number one, almost 14% of all agriculture. And this is not so good because what's happening, we've got the fires, we've got massive water regulations, recent water regulation changes that are going to cause even more hardships on the farmers. And California, again, the number one agricultural state, so this is not pointing in a very good direction as far as I can see. Let's take a look at this. And this was fairly widely reported here recently, but we just have to remind you again, and this is out of CNN. California regulators vote to restrict water access for thousands of farmers amid severe drought. What is this going to do to the food supply? Again, the number one agricultural state in the United States is California. Also, farmers are going to lose their rights to the groundwater, their own property, their own land, the water under their own land, under their own feet. They no longer have the rights to unlimited pumping of that water because of all the restrictions and new regulations. SACB reported also California cuts off thousands of valley farmers from river. Farmers really need to start collecting rainwater. Some of them are, but all of the farmers really need to start doing that. And who knows, they'll probably come out with some regulation saying the farmers are no longer allowed to do that. And that's actually a law that's been passed in some areas already. But I wouldn't be surprised if they crack down on the farmers more and implemented new regulations against rainwater collecting. Who knows? But things are not looking like they're headed in the right direction. And we've talked about this here. More farmers declare bankruptcy despite record levels of federal aid. But guess what? It's about to get worse. Take a look at this. And this article references Washington State and how many more farmers are going to go bankrupt due to the drought. Well, guess what? You're going to see that again in California. You're going to see things worsen and more food shortages, which equals more rising prices. And over the last year or two, we've definitely witnessed a big surge in the number of people going to food banks. And I've even showed you some lines that I found here in Southern California. But guess what? It's about to get worse because as prices continue to rise, more and more people are going to be dependent on handouts in these food banks. So again, you've got to be really, really prepared and try to stock up while you can. That's what I'm doing, and that's what I recommend. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, of course. Now let's talk about some other shortage situations here with a lot of the clothing and other retail stores. Now I'd like to hear from you on this. Have you been seeing a lot more shortages? I've been seeing a lot more shortages. Grocery stores, especially department stores, a lot more reports here. Places like TJ Maxx, Burlington Coat Factories, grocery store, see empty shelves having to put limits on how much customers can buy for certain items. We're already seeing rationing now of items and restrictions and limits being put on. Remember the big toilet paper rush and how some retailers, like even Costco, had to put limits on the amount of toilet paper that people could buy. Well, imagine that now spread across a lot of different other products and goods because of the lack of supply. Also, there's been some viral videos on TikTok that shows empty grocery store shelves. And a lot of this has to do with, of course, imports, supply chain disruptions, the labor shortage, and really the trucking shortage is a big part of this. Now, I know I have some truck drivers on this channel. Really like to hear from you on this one. What is going on with the truck driver shortage? I'm not a truck driver, but here's what I found out based on my research. According to the sources that I found, there's a truck driver shortage, and of course there's a broader labor shortage. But a big part of this, from what I can see here, and also out of this article here, is that there's a lot of regulations now, new regulations being placed on truck drivers. And according to what I read here, it's having to do with how many miles or how many hours a day that truck drivers can operate. Now, this doesn't seem new. It seems like there's always been those types of regulations. But are they getting worse? Or what other reasons are behind the trucker shortage? Please let me know. But I know the few things that I laid out here is definitely part of it. The restrictions, the regulations. We know that fuel and energy costs are eating into a lot of the bottom line for truck drivers. So maybe that's discouraging a lot of truck drivers. We'll have to see how this plays out. But again, things are not looking so good here. If you're looking for lower prices and lower cost of living, it seems like a lot of things together are adding up to rising cost of living and higher prices. So I'll ask you for good news. Please let me know the good news down below. Please let me know what's going to fix this situation to try to bring the cost of living down. I see nothing but rising prices and more limited supply. And, again, I wish I had more good news for you. Please let me know down in the comments. Now, manufacturing, is it coming back to the United States? Are things going to get produced here in the United States now going forward? I don't see many signs of that. I hope I'm wrong, but let's take a look at some information about how little manufacturing here that we have in the United States. And this article came out within the last few months. What percent of products are made in the USA? Well, let's go right down to this part of the article. What percent of Walmart's products are made in China? And we'll talk about Walmart, the #1 retailer. In China, the Walmarts locally source 95% of their items that they sell. So they're mostly domestic products sold in their country. But the United States, according to this article, Chinese suppliers make up 70 to 80% of Walmart's merchandising. 70 to 80%. So there you go. And when you see shipping delays and other problems with us getting products here imported, guess what? It's going to be more shortages, more rising prices. So now might be a good time to maybe cut back on the spending, maybe not take that vacation that you thought about taking. Just my recommendation, you may want to think about it. Of course, I'm not giving anyone advice. And as far as supply shortages, sometimes people say I have no solutions. Here you go, Goodwill. Goodwill has a lot of stuff. You might have to start looking for stuff secondhand if you can't buy it brand new. Come on, go shop at Goodwill. You never know what you'll find. Look at this. You'll never know what you'll need. You'll need an Ollie North plate, Oliver North. Or maybe you can find yourself a lamp that's shaped like some grapes. How's that? Or how's about the Michelin Man for your bookshelf, right? All kinds of fun. All right, everybody, thanks for watching this report. Stay well, stay safe, stay prepared, keep stacking, stay positive. Bye for now.